What I intend to do basically is to show you these pictures which illustrate the various crosses and what should work, and also it's always a good idea to know what doesn't work. And then I'll save you time and to help you to plan also. But just remember, this is my views, and the other people could have other views, so it just take it from there with that. All right. So I relax, I'm an expert. Okay. So, okay, interspecific crosses, they're ones that involve more than one species. And, you know, why do it? Because I've listed all those things there. And, you know, you can just do potluck because two plants are in flower at the same time. And you just say, oh, I'll just cross them. And that's potluck. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. And I've got some examples for you. First of all, just all the different species. I don't know if you could remember, after the 2006 conference, they arranged for the post office to issue a range of Clivier stamps. And these are they're in the order in which they were found. These are the paintings of them. The first one, top left, is Nobilis, and then Miniata, and then Gardneri, and then Coalescence probably, and then Mirabilis, and then Robusta. I think that's the idea. But basically, just to give you an idea of those postage stamps, if you remember them. So,
what is stamps?
Postage stamps.
What is that? Sorry.
Look, you should be old enough to remember. Yeah. All right, okay. So those are the abbreviations I use, which it should be obvious, yeah. Okay, the very first interspecific cross that was made was probably in 1864, which was when the Miniata got to Europe. And it's a Miniata nobilis cross. I'm not sure which way. But at the time, as I said there, by crossbreeding plants, people were flying in the face of Providence, and the process was wicked and impious interference with the laws of nature. And I looked up what impious meant because I didn't know, but it means like rebellion against God. So when you do these interspecific crosses, especially when you take pollen out of the deep freeze and all the rest, you're really playing God. Yeah? It's an interesting thought, yeah. And it was exhibited as a new species. They gave it a name because at the time, doing this kind of thing was not good. It wasn't approved of. So they gave it a species name as if it was a new species altogether, but it was a cross. Okay, so with the pendulous, the features that we could use in breeding is to remember all of these things. The flowers at a different time, and you've got no throat. Do anybody know why there's no throat in a pendulous? No, it's birds. It's birds. Birds are colorblind. They don't see that, so they don't waste energy. So that's what they do. And then you could have different colors outside and inside as well. And then you've got your hanging down pedicels. So there's a story with the Miniata, and it's got a throat color. You know why? Because it's pollinated by butterflies in nature, and that throat is actually a target area, which if you do infrared photography, you'll see it actually comes up as a different color, and that's what the butterflies see, so they can target in on it. There's it. So, okay, the outside color is usually similar. And then the pedicels are, as you know, upright, thicker, and sorry, okay. And then at least two groups available of yellows and peaches. We've just seen recently of the last circular gave some more types there. And the leaves, you've got all sorts of variegations, like a Buddha, and big leaves, small leaves, etc., etc. What you can try to plan is the flowering season, so that they're in flower for the show. I remember going to Pietermaritzburg, and they had lots of interspecifics on show. And I said, wow, okay, in the Cape they don't flower around about this time. They said, no, this is different pollination. So I'll come to that. And the different flower shapes you can have, and then the kind of different umbels and colors, and you can do leaf variegations. The usual flowering seasons are, you maybe agree with me or not agree with me. Late autumn, garden-eye, sometimes coalescence. Coalescence seem to flower all over the place. And late winter, miniata, September, spring, October, September, Octoberish. And then miniata and nobilis, sometimes even later. And the nobilis to end of September, beginning of October, usually. And then the mirabilis, very late spring, and that's probably about middle of October to the middle of November. Now, Chris night before, put up a picture of a cross between a mirabilis and a nobilis. Both of them flower late, and that's in flower now. So often you get flowers when you do the cross, interspecies cross, they flower at a time when you really wouldn't expect it. And then if you do 2 times miniata and 1 times garden-eye, so you do say garden-eye, miniata, and then put a miniata onto it, that tends to bring it to flowering time. So that's what they did that we're doing up in Natal. And then the flower shape. Now these are just my observations. If you want to use more tubular, that's like this, you use the miniata as the mother. If you want more flared, use garden-eye as the mother. And some crosses they may take even longer, a long time to flower. Coalescence crosses sometimes take a long time, in my experience. Some you could do, so okay, this terminology, I'm sure you know. The F1 is the first generation, the F2 is the second generation. And then there are other types of crosses you can do as well. But a general rule. Now I'm sorry this is a very, very busy slide, and you probably know this as well. The first law of genetics, you can apply it more. So for example, you cross a yellow miniata and a nobilis, or any other species, and they'll flower orange, eh? Because orange is dominant over yellow. And so we call it split for yellow, orange split for yellow. And then when you self-pollinate that, you'll get 25% yellow, true yellow, 25% true orange, and 50% orange split for yellow hybrids. Now, I don't know if you guys knew all of that. Did you know that? Did you know all of that? Yeah, okay, that's useful to know in your breeding. Okay, so some examples.
The split ones, of course, will all superficially appear orange.
Exactly, yeah, yes. So you
usually get only 25% that look yellow.
That look yellow, yes. The rest you have to say that it's yellow in the genes, some of them. Okay, so the first generation, the plant look like each other, but maybe depend on which is the mother. So if you do a miniata by pendulus, you tend to get more upright pedicels and more tubular flowers. And then Ian Brown and I did an experiment years ago, which I can't even remember the result now, but we took the same 2 plants, crossed them both ways, and then when they flowered, looked to see which one seemed to produce the most flowers. And I seem to remember that we discovered if you use the pendulus for pollen, then you get more flowers in the F1. My memory is gone. Chris, did you ever notice that?
I haven't done it I can't say.
Yeah, well, you've done it, but you haven't noticed. Yes.
I haven't noticed.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Sure. Right. Okay. And then you want to choose what you're going to do next. You know, I often look at what's the most vigorous. And then if this is a dwarf garden-eye, intermediate dwarf garden-eye, which Mick Dyer gave me. Or I think he makes it even in a seedling. And then a daruma. And I think his idea was to produce something with small plant with shorter leaves. And so that's what it looked like in the first generation. And the next step using that sort of basic rule, you would cross it with itself, then you would get some variation amongst the F2 offspring, because you've got some recessive genes coming up. So they won't all look like the same, but they will include some which are semi-pendulous, some which are more upright. If you read the articles by Rudolf Lotte's father, where he did a lot of these, Wessel Lotte, I think, there's a lot of these things. And you need lots of seedlings to see all the possibilities. So it's no good just keeping one or two. You need lots if you want to take it seriously. And then select the best. Now look at this. I mean, Chris showed me a picture of one of his that looked very similar to this. This is a garden eye, Miniata, F2, crossed with itself. So it was selected from, well, presumably for half umbel, beautiful shape. Others would have looked different. And then this one was selected for full umbel, which has got the Miniata as the mother, and Nobilis, F2. This is selected for a versicolor with the yellow on the inside and the orange on the outside. It's a yellow Miniata times Nobilis, F2, as a breeder of Jim Holmes. Now, Jim Holmes is selling a lot of his collection. We may have sold it. And some people say, oh no, it's all old stuff. But believe me, Jim Holmes has some very, very good stuff, including Hirao, including some new stuff as well. Anyway, that's what it looked like opening, and this is what it looked like when it was mature. So bear in mind that the flowers will often change color as they get older. This one was selected for a full umbel, and this guy Reiki was a chap in Australia, and he imported a lot of seeds from Nakamura and grew them and developed them and did some of his own crosses. And this is Nakamura also did a lot of, he used for the mother plant an orange by yellow Miniata. So he already had both genes there. It was orange flowering, and then he crossed that with a coalescence, and then he selfed that. And this is what Reiki got, which is rather nice. I know, it's rather special. Now, you also think to yourself, if there was a show and was flowering for the show, and you entered it, would the judges say, okay, that's an interspecific, or will they say, no, it looks too much like a Miniata? Interesting. And then this one is Rudo's chandelier. Rudo Lotte did a lot of family, did a lot of the crossbreeding, and garden eye by Miniata by self. And then complex crosses, which are more difficult. Miniata by coalescence by Miniata. And I think my experience is that use the same Miniata, okay, that you did as the mother, and that'll bring out variation in seedlings and some special features. So, for example, multi-tepals. So if you've got a multi-tepal Miniata and use it twice in the babies, you're likely to have more multi-petals. And Miniata by coalescence times a different Miniata is actually an F1 cross. So its seedlings will definitely be similar to each other. They might be very nice, but there won't be a variation. And this is a nice one, Daydream, which was Nakamura's breeding. That was the Miniata coalescence. And he used coalescence quite a lot to start with. And then this is another complex one of his, Princess. It's Miniata times Nobilis by Miniata times Miniata. So you can play around with these things if you've got lots of years of life ahead of you, especially. And this is Leprechaun. Some of you might know Leprechaun. I think Clayton's got a Leprechaun, right? Okay. And that was a coalescence times orange by yellow Miniata, and then selfed. And that was from McDowell. And that one, it never flowered. It didn't flower. So he put it in the garden, so it flowered. So you never know with these things. And that's one of the things of coalescence. It can give you some problems. Okay, so how to go about it? First of all, observe, get to know your plants, and then you got to persist, keep going, and you make sure you use quality parents if you're going to take it seriously, and you keep your records, and you need space. You need space, that's for sure, and share your experience. You know, that's one of the things that I find with this Clivier group. We're not really, WhatsApp group, we're not really sharing our experiences enough. I mean, somebody gave me Johan, he gave me a Akabono by Lighter Buddha, and it was orange. And then afterwards, somebody said, maybe it was you, who said, no, there was yellow in it. So it was split for yellow. So when it flowers, I know I must pollinate with yellow and get some yellows out of it. So good idea to share your knowledge. And then for flower shape, you got these different things I suggest there. And select the best again, you know, for bell shape. Bell is like a clockie shape. And this is one which I did, planning for multi-tepal flowers with lots of green. I thought, man, wouldn't it be wonderful if you can have a plant which is all green. And so I got the green tips from the mother, which was the malachite, garden eye, and it had 12 millimeter flowers. And the green throat from this very good bronze green throat of mine. And in the F1, you know, not very attractive, only 7 flowers. So, yeah. And, but there were the babies, there were two with Maltese. So I don't know where they got that from, because that was from the mother. And they were 26 millimeters. So it's a lot more than that, than the garden eye on its own. And so the next step was self-pollinate them, select the best F2s, and I also pollinated again with that multi-petal bronze green throat. And I did the cross the other way around, put onto the one, and more open, more green Maltese, possibly could get some more bronze. And I thought, well, with 2 times Miniata, I'm going to definitely get more upright flowers, not the hanging type. And the other one that I'd forgotten, but I remember it later, is that if you get red and green, just crayons or something, and you red, and then you crayon green on the top, you get brown bronze. And so again, select the best and move on. Sometimes things don't work. Sometimes the plant of the pollen just doesn't take. There's all sorts of things. And this is one, my Rocket Man, which was a F1 in times, so it's 2 times Miniata, 1 times garden eye. And this is in flower in September. And the plan didn't work for all green. But all flowers had at least 6 tepals, and I think there were 13 or 14 flowers, and they flowered in the spring because of the 2 times Miniata. And I'd selected amongst, earlier on when I selected, I took this one for vigor and good leaves. And so you don't know what the flower is going to be like that. So you've got to select on other characteristics of the plant. And it didn't flower for the show, but I took it along the next day, or one during the show. And one of the judges, a chap from PE, I can't remember his name, but I remember it was from PE. And he looked at that and he said, no, that's definitely a Miniata. But I said, no, it's interspecific. So, yeah. And this one is a pendulous by pendulous. Now, Chris has been doing so, these nobilis and mirabilis. This is a dwarf garden eye by mirabilis, and Mick Dower gave me this. And I didn't do anything with it. I didn't go any further. Would I go further now? Probably, if I had the opportunity to do that. You okay there?
No.
All right. But I was put off by those leaves, the long, thin leaves. So I didn't take it any further there. But again, if you'd crossed with something else, you could have changed the look of it very much. This is one of Nakamura's. It's a coalescence by yellow miniata. Aurea is an Australian type 1 yellow. I don't know what it was, F1 or F2. And then Charity, which was a green goblin garden eye by Herau Group 2, selected from its siblings. And this one was, look, lots of flowers, influence of the pollen parent possibly, which is the coalescence. More upright flowers from the mother. Very, very nice. And another one, orange miniata by yellow miniata by coalescence, F1 or F2. This is Chanel. I don't know if you've ever seen Chanel. I don't know who's got Chanel. I haven't seen one for years. I don't know if anybody's got Chanel. But it was an early one, which is still very, very, very attractive, I think. And it was a nobilis, I think, by yellow miniata by self, selected by Rudo Lotter. And Werner, this is another one of his. And this is one from that Bart Cillier. If you remember, Bart Cillier is a member of the club, but I think he's living up country now. And he put it up on our group, which was he got permission from Rudo, so obviously a long time ago, called Chanel 2, which is also from that same breeding, another selection. And then Charles Green. I'm sorry, this is not a great picture, but it's Garden Eye by Yellow Miniata by Self. And it was Nakamura sent seeds to Charles Malone in Grahamstown at the time, I think. And he then flowered it, and I think had given one to Charles. Charles Couture, yes, sorry, yes, Charles Couture. And then at the 2006 show in Pretoria, what do you think it went for? 32,000. I think you're in the right territory. Yes, of that order. Yes. A lot of money, man. It was crazy, and he was, you know. So then this is another one, CG Junior. This is one of mine, and it was a Vico Yellow Miniata times Charles Green. And it must have flowered orange, because then Charles Malone then put Charles Green pollen onto it and produced this. Now, my question again, if entered in the show, what class would you enter it? You know, would it be a Miniata or Interpacific? It must be very difficult for judges to really you accept the breeder's word or whatever. And this is one called Green Imp. And this is with one Miniata and two Garden Eye. So it's Miniata by Garden Eye by Garden Eye. And this one is a very nice one, Pansy. This is also this guy, Reiki in Australia. With orange Miniata times yellow Miniata times coalescence times yellow Miniata. So there's all sorts of different things you can do and different results you can get. And Primrose, and this was a sibling to Pansy, so it looks totally different. Because remember, this is now you got that variation from the breeding. And one called Gay Delight, orange Miniata times yellow Miniata times Garden Eye F2. So also very attractive. Got the colors there. So it seems to be, if you have garden eye, you can get some quite interesting colors in the flowers in the next generation, the second generation. And pastel bells, Miniata bicoalescence, and Santa's bells, and this is a yellow Miniata times Nobilis by yellow Miniata, and I did this, and it's got a, you entered this in the show, you wouldn't really get anything with it, but it was a very, very intense yellow, a very different yellow, But generally, yellow interspecific is not that interesting, I don't think. This is brown-eyed girl, one of Rudo's, and I got no details of it all, but it's very attractive. And then this was now orange Miniata by yellow Miniata times coalescence by yellow Miniata times yellow Miniata. So I don't know who did this, but it took a long time I did the final one. I did the final one, but they're selected from pigmented seedlings, and you get this lovely big throat. That was Werner that you had. But lovely umbel, Werner, beautiful. You often see these pictures of interspecifics only of the flowers. You don't necessarily see it, you think, wow, that's fantastic. But when you look at the whole plant, look at those leaves of Werner. Not great, not great. Best to bear that in mind. And this is quite a well-balanced plant. Not that great, but nice balance to it, which was one called Golden Sunset by Morris Bicolor. I don't know any more than that. And this one was Nimbicola. I haven't mentioned that species. This is John Winter. And I think that these were two plants in his shade house at Kirstenbosch. Now, he could do this, but that could never be shown as a Kirstenbosch plant because they have strict rules about what you can do and what you can't do. So this is quite an interesting one. And I was just happening to visit him, and I saw it and took a picture. This is crossed between two semipendulous, Miniata by garden eye times coalescence by Miniata. So those are also other things you can do. And so if you want to, find out the breeding of the plants you want to cross. You've got to know what genes it's got. These days, so many plants just got a name, and you don't know what the plant is, the breeding. So the breeding F1 is the beginning of the road, and so if you've got your plants outside, don't let sunbirds get anywhere near them. And I say the photo is flatter sometimes. And versicolor, if you want to get a versicolor, you got a good chance from the F2s with Nobilis and yellow Miniata. We've seen that. And colors change with age. Your green usually disappears. Nakamura abandoned his working with coalescences because he said they took too long to flower. And and then again you got that pansy and primrose were two plants selected from 23 seedlings. So you need space, and and then these are observations here, what we dominant. Green throats and variegation inherited from the mother plant. Some people have said to me, no, it's the other way around. Sorry, the variegation is the other way around. You get the variation from the pollen period. But I suspect if you got variegation in both, you'll get some improvement maybe, I don't know. And the LOB feature seems to be strongly inherited. And certainly I found that you get more Maltese when both parents are Maltese. But sometimes they take a long time, longer to flower. And then if you're not going to do interspecific crosses, why not try to do some miniata crosses and use the same principle, the same formula. And this is now breeding for a yellow with a green throat and multi-petal leaves. Sorry, I had LOB leaves, sorry. With the green throat and LOB leaves. And this is my experiment which is in progress. I use the mother with this orange miniata with LOB leaves, which was one from no, not yours, no, it was another one, from Dani van Eerden was this. Okay, and then the pollen parent was the Hirau, yellow with the green throat. And then all flowers were orange, some split for yellow with LOB leaves. And when the best LOB leaves cross-pollinate them, and then you get many babies, and you select those with 25%, with green stems, 25%. Some or all of them will have LOB leaves. And then when the selection flowers, they should all be yellow, green-throated yellow with LOB leaves. I mean, that would be something really spectacular, I think. And that would take you 10 years. So, yeah. No, I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there. Damn thing's just got to flower. To select in the next iteration some ghost flowers, Ghost flowers with green throats. And then different other ones there I suggest. And that number 5, the peaches with LOB leaves. I did see that in California when I was in California, some peaches with LOB leaves. And then also the multi-tepal yellow with green throats. And I say, watch this space. Again, all I'm going to use is flower. Yeah. Okay. And then, has anyone used this one in breeding? Ngomi yellow garden eye. Do you know it? Ngomi yellow garden eye. It's, yeah. And this was one, by the way, if you cross it with yellow, it doesn't give you yellow. It's a strange plant. But and then also this one used a robusta in interspecific breeding. This is one that Kerry Kruger put up on the group recently. So that would be interesting to use that with cross with robusta. And then a shortcut. You want to go shortcut. Get hold of an existing F1 crossing. People have already done that cross, first generation cross. Find out all about the parents and pollinate, grow lots of them, and then select the best. And it will take you 4 or 5 years instead of the 10. So that's what I would suggest for somebody who's wanting to start. And just keep a lookout for what you can get. And plan to increase your chance of success. You can't guarantee it, but you can increase it. And there are endless possibilities, including crossing with compact group 2 yellows and those sort of Chinese plants and things like that. A lot of people are doing with that. And good luck. So that's the end of my story.
So I see a lot of the good growers, and they've got spectacular plants, and they're advertising seeds. Maybe I've seen Gems Golden Renaissance.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about that, and maybe let's say Charles Green on the other side. And then the seeds are valuable. They're sought after. Mm-hmm. Is it not the same genetically, in a sense? If I've got Gems Golden Renaissance crossed with something, and Charles Green crossed with something, and I've produced a cross from those.
Go for it. Yeah.
Are those seeds, in your experience, I know that there's no hard and fast answer,
yeah.
But in your experience, do you think something as good could come, knowing that the Gems Golden Renaissance gene is on that side and Charles Green gene is on the side,
yes.
But it's not the pure plant?
Yeah.
You said select from your...
But bear in mind, you need lots of seedlings and select from those. Yeah.
If I could just make an observation on the
Yes.
last question.
Yes.
A good couple of years ago, I think it was just before COVID, I did a talk on breeding generally.
Yeah.
And I used the example of a Rubik's Cube. Now you must understand that there are massive numbers of possible
Yeah.
genes that are all in there.
Yes.
Now you arrange, I don't know if you're any good with a Rubik's Cube, I'm useless. So I can get one or two sides nice.
Yeah.
But when I try and maneuver something and something's happening on the other side that I can't see. Now this is exactly what you're doing with genes.
Yes.
So your statistical chances are smaller, but they're real.
Yes.
So you understand, if I had a Rubik's Cube with 12 sides, you know how complicated that would be. Now you're playing with a Rubik's Cube with 12 sides.
No, I'm saying, I would say go for it because you've got good parents. You've got good parents. You know, that's the important thing. Start with good parents. Yeah. Yes. Chris.
John, just to add on to the plant which you briefly referred to, the Nagomi. I mean, the jury is still out. Is that a special, maybe a new species, or is it a garden?
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I suggested it.
No. There's a lot of debate on it at the moment. Should it be declared? Because the interesting thing about it, except for the fact that it looks different to the Midlands a garden eye,
Yeah.
its breeding pattern is completely different. I mean, you hardly ever get an orange when you cross that with a yellow or with a bronze, or with, you can cross it with anything. You will get funny colors, but very seldom you will get orange.
Yeah.
Whereas with a normal garden eye, if you put it with a yellow, you guarantee to get an orange. So the people that are sort of behind the radar looking at maybe reclassified the Nagomi, that's a very, very interesting pendulous to breed with.
Yeah.
And he referred to the king of the Nagomis, which is the James Golden Renaissance,
Yes.
which is probably one of the best. And they've got very high flower count,
Yeah.
far, far, far higher than the Midlands.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That malachite of mine that I showed was given to me by Peter van Rooyen, who was Francois' father. Now, Francois, you get a plant there, you got the plants in the grounds or in beds. And he says, man, for me just to pick up a spade is 500 rand. So his father, I think, was a farmer who had this as a hobby. Now, Francois made it as his business. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Felix. Thank you.